Alright guys, so the next thing we're installing on the bike today, the 2019 300XC, is this new Slavens Racing S3 head. It's a high compression head with two inserts in it. It's aluminum, it's billet, it's orange, it's pretty cool, and it's supposed to give you a lot more power throughout the band. Top end, I believe, is what they were saying, but it really just spices up the motor. You can still run it on just 91 or 93 octane gas. No need for race gas unless you want to. Looks like a pretty simple install. It didn't cost that much, and from what I've read, Jeff Slavens is saying, you know, he would never run a bike without it anymore. He's just used to running modified motors, and so he's just going to keep running modified motors. This is your S3 head. This is the part that goes on top, and then there's two inserts in here. There is a AAA insert, which is for if you're riding mostly over 6,000 feet in elevation. And then there's a, I think this is a double A insert, which is for below 6,000 feet. And I'm at Phoenix. Most of the time I'm going to be around here. If I go up to Flagstaff, Payson, or the high country anywhere, I'm going to be 7, 8, 9,000, but I don't think it's going to, I'm not going to ride that much up there. I'm going to be riding down here most of the time. So I'm going to use this AA head with this piece here, and we're going to get going. First thing you need to do is you got to take off the tank and you got to take off the seat. First step to installing the head, you got to go ahead and take off the seat. That's going to be two 30mm Torx, one short one on this side. You can lift the back of the seat, push down, and slide the seat off like that. Next step here is you're going to go ahead and remove the fuel tank. You're going to do that with a couple of things. First off, make sure the petcock is off position. You're going to make sure that you take this vent tube off. The 4 bolts that hold the plastic to the radiator. On the driver's side, you're going to go ahead and pop off the airbox panel. There's another 30mm holding the tank down. I have to go and disconnect the fuel petcock from the fuel. Nothing to it. Seat and the tank off. You've got a lot better access here. So as you can see, you've got the spark plug. You need to disconnect. Pop that off. Now's a good time to loosen up the spark plug. Otherwise, you're going to have to put the head in a vise once you get it off. On this, you're going to have to take off this bracket. So there's 1, 2, 3 Torx, one with the pipe, 3 on the other side. I believe that is a T45. You're going to use a T40 Torx to remove this last bolt from the bracket and the pipe there that goes on the head. Alright, before you take anything else off of here, you want to loosen up your spark plug. You can do that with a 13/16. Just leave it in there, but you want to break it loose before you take that head off so that it's easy to get out. Alright guys, so the next thing you want to do now that you've got the brackets off, you've got the tank off, the seat off, is you want to drain the coolant. I've already broken the spark plug loose, and I need to just take this radiator hose off, but I need to get the coolant out of the motor first. So here's your water pump, I believe, and I've got a clean bucket here, and you're going to remove this, what was it, 8mm bolt. Okay, I've removed my radiator cap, and now this should drain. And we've now removed Okay, so now that we've got most of the coolant out of the motor, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and reinstall this bolt with the copper washer on it back into the bottom of the water pump. Because that should be enough that I can now take the radiator hose off without losing too much coolant. Okay, now that we've removed the coolant and the radiator hose, we're going to go ahead and remove these 13mm bolts. There are 6 of them on top of the head, and make sure that you have that spark plug loose before you take these out. not in there very tight. They're only about 18 to 20 foot-pounds. It doesn't take that much. And they have copper washers on them that you can reuse if the bike is fairly new. If they're old, then they recommend replacing them. There you go. So this is what the underside of the stock head looks like with the spark plug in it. And then this is what the new head that we're putting on is going to look like. It's this black insert here, the AA. Next step here, we're going to start assembling our new Slavens S3 head. And like I said, there's two options. There's two inserts that come with it. There's the black one, which if you look at it, is labeled AA, ends in AA, and then the other one ends in AAA. AAA is for above 6,000 feet, so we want to use this one, the AA. And the head kit comes with some new O-rings and a little sticker and some new washers for the bolts. So we've got 6 new washers, new O-rings, and a new sticker. So we're going to go ahead and start assembling this. So Jeff Slavens recommends you use a little grease, but this thing fits right in here. Sit down right in this groove. And there's a little dowel pin on here. You need to make sure that this fits into a slot on this S3 head. Now, there's a corresponding hole that you can see. So there's this hole drilled in here. You want to get that lined up. Alright guys, so we finally got the insert into the S3 head here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure this surface is nice and clean. There's nothing in here, crap. We're going to go ahead and take the spark plug and we're going to reinsert it through the top. And that's going to hold this thing together.
And then carefully locate those valves.
And then it'll sit down like that. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand tighten these bolts all the way down, and then I'm going to go ahead and snug them up a little bit, and then I'm going to get my torque wrench and torque them to 14 foot-pounds, and then go around and do an 18 foot-pound torque, which will be the final torque. And you want to do it in a cross pattern. So right now I'm just going to hand tighten them. Now I'm going to dial it up to 18 foot-pounds. All torqued down. Now I got to go ahead and remove the bleeder screw and insert it into, well, you know what, this head actually doesn't have a bleeder screw. Go ahead and tighten that up. Next step, go ahead and put the spark plug wire back on. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall these braces. Go ahead and refill the coolant. Go ahead and throw the tank back on. And then you're going to reinstall the carburetor line to the fuel petcock. Once you've got them both in, you can go ahead and torque them down. Okay. Now, we can go ahead and test fire the bike. Make sure it's in neutral. Bike cap goes on. And so far I don't see any leaks. Well guys, that concludes the install of the Slavens S3 high compression head. Thanks for watching.